Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bukola Adetola, and if you're new here, I create Microsoft Power Platform tutorials on this channel, and alongside that, I also create career, tech, and lifestyle related content. So if you're yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you don't get to miss any upcoming videos. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Microsoft Dataverse, and in this video, we'll be addressing Dataverse core concept, tables, columns, and data types. We'll also be looking at records, which are also called rows. We'll also be looking at relationship and keys, lookups and choice columns, creating and modifying table, and as well as importing and exporting data. We are in the PowerApps environment, and that is make.powerapps.com. So if you're here to sign up for a PowerApps license, whether a developer plan or a paid plan, I showed in my previous video, in my previous tutorial how to do that. I will just briefly show that again, and then we'll navigate back into the PowerApps environment. So if you go to the microsoft.com/power platform, you see the Power Platform tools, and then you click on Learn More. And here we have the try for free button, but let's go to pricing. And under pricing, we have the developer plan, which is free, and the PowerApps Premium. So the developer plan allows you to build and test unlimited apps across 3 environments to experiment before moving to production. So if you click on try for free, you'll be required to input your email to get started. So we will navigate back into the PowerApps environment. So on our side menu here, we have a couple of stuffs here, a bunch of stuffs actually, but the star of today's show is tables, and so we'll click on that. So you're probably wondering what tables are. I said we're going to be talking about the Microsoft Dataverse. So what is table? Well, your data in Dataverse is stored in records called tables. So those are tables. So all of your record, each of your record is called or referred to as a table. A table is a logical structure of rows and columns similar to a database table. And a table can represent a range of things, from physical objects to abstract concepts. So it could be anything like pets, buildings, or products. It could also be your projects, your skills, and benefits. So essentially, your Dataverse table makes it easy to define a data model for your apps using both built-in and custom tables. Dataverse offers built-in tables, and they are of different types, whether standard or activity. So there are a couple of tables that are built-in that comes with your Dataverse, like account, address, agenda, announcement, appointment, and you can also create a custom table as well to suit your business requirement or your business need. So your tab here allows you to create a new table, so you can create a new table or a virtual table. There's also the option to import data from Excel or import data with data flows. You can also export your data as well, analyze your data in Power BI, link it to Azure Synapse, link it to Microsoft Fabrics as well. So to get started, you can either describe what you want to do or what you want to achieve to Copilot, and it helps you to create a table. You can start with a blank table, as well as an option to create your table with an Excel or a CSV file. So you have an existing Excel file or CSV file, you can bring that in to create your table. And if you have your list already in SharePoint, you can as well import that in to get started with creating your table. So we will just click on one of these tables to see what you have inside of your table. So there's an option of creating new properties, whether it's your schema, data experience, or customization. You can add all of these to your table. You can edit your table, create an app from your table, and also check what apps or flows that are using this table. So as you can see, there are a bunch of applications already using this table. and flows, no flows yet. So you can also import data into your table. I showed that earlier, export and show dependencies and publish your table. So next we have the table properties. And for name, the name of our table is account. The primary column name is account name, and the type is standard, and that's modified was 3 months ago. And for the description, an account represents a customer or a potential customer. So next, under properties, we have schema, and under schema we have columns, relationship, and keys. So columns refer to metadata that defines each record. And for relationships define links to other table. So we have an account table, and we want to link it to a contact table that houses the contacts of different customers. There are different types of relationship. We'll get into that later in this tutorial. So we also have keys, and keys are columns that uniquely identify each row. Next is data experience, and under data experience we have forms, views, charts, and dashboard. And forms are typically used by the model-driven application to view and edit table rows. So the model-driven application is a type of PowerApps application. I'll be talking about that in another video. So we have views, and views define how rows and columns are displayed. So we also have charts and visualize your table data, and we have dashboards, and dashboards provide visual summaries of data using charts and filters. And under customizations, we have business rules, commands, and messages. And business rules apply logic to table columns. Commands are custom buttons added to model-driven apps, command bars. So we'll go ahead and open up each of these. So when we click on columns, we have the different types of columns that already exist in our table. So you can click on this to add a new column, and for advanced you can publish the table. So under columns we have the display name, we have the name, and we have the data type of that column, whether it's managed, whether it's customized, or whether it's customizable. So we have this number of columns under this table, and for each of these columns we can see the name and the data type. So for data type we have a whole lot of data types available, like a single line of text, choice, multiple lines of text, and so many more other data types. So let's navigate back. When we click on relationships, we can as well see relationships that exist under this table, and these are the number of relationships that exist. And under relationships we can see the related table, the relationship as well. So there are different types of relationships: many to one, one to many, and many to many. So we can as well create a new relationship to this table, and add to the existing relationships that already exist. So go back, click on keys. So primary keys are unique identifiers for each row. As you can see, this table doesn't have a primary key. We'll leave it as that. And so for forms, when we click on forms, we can see the different types of form, the form type, status, and so let's click on the main form. So for forms, just like the name implies, it's a form and it's used in your model-driven application. So there are a lot of forms like I showed you in the previous tab, and with a form you can use it to collect information from users, and you can configure this, maneuver this to fit however you want your form to look like. So you can take this out, bring new columns, bring new columns into your form. So you can design it, impute different components, form libraries, and a whole lot of other stuff. So for views, we also have a lot of views associated with this table, and there are different view types: advanced, find view, public view, and lookup view. So when you click on this, basically it's how your data is displayed in your model driven app. So these are this is what this looks like, and you can add as much column as you want, remove and add as much as you want, just to suit how you want your data to be displayed. So now that I've explained the Dataverse table, we'll go ahead and create a new table, and afterwards import data into that table. So let's get to it. So go ahead and create a new table, and that table I would name it employee performance spreadsheet. So automatically, once you impute the display name, it generates the plural name. And for the primary column, it's typically just name. And I can just change it to employee name instead of the generic name. Mind you, once you create your table, you can no longer edit this primary column. So we'll just go and click on enable attachments. So here we have the schema name already generated. The table type is standard. For record owner, we're going to leave it as user or team. Choose table image, none for now. Let's leave it at none. So let's just go ahead and save this. So we have created our table. So once you create your table and click on columns, there are default columns that come with your table once it's created. Default columns like created by the employee name, which is the primary column. We have modified by owner, owning business unit, and so forth. So let's go back and begin to add, no, let's leave it here. So let's go and add a new column. So we already have the employee name. Let's add new columns to our table. So we're going to name our column department. So we want to be able to save information about the department of each employee. And here we have you, and here you can describe this column, and also there's the data type. And for this one, I want to use a choice column, so that once we are entering a record for each employee, we can select out of the available departments. So for behavior, we leave it as simple, required, optional. And so we also have different options, whether this choice you want it to sync with a global choice, and so that this choice column that I want to create can be used in multiple tables. But no, I'll choose no. I want it to be local. I want to create a local choice that can only be used in this table. So for default choice, I would say no, and I'll go ahead and start imputing the different option sets for the choice column. So I've gone ahead to define the option sets for this choice column, and so we have the different options for the department available: admin, finance, operation, marketing, sales, IT, HR, and the values as well. So I'll go ahead and save this. So once we have done that, we can go back to our table and edit the table so that we can continue to add as much columns as we want. So this table typically is to hold the record for the employee performance score sheet. And this table will include employee name, department, ratings, and the KPIs, as well as the total score and average score. So let's go ahead and include and add those columns to the table. So to add a column, we can do that with this button, or we'll click on this. One thing you need to know while you're creating your column is to also understand the type of record, the type of data that will be saved in each column. So for example, your record is in currency or numbers or text, you'll be required to select the aligning data type, else you'll not be able to save that record in that column. So next we're going to be creating the rating column, and it's the same with the last column that we created. It's going to also be a choice column. Select no, and for the ratings we're going to have average, excellent, good, and poor. So depending on the employee's total score, they will be assigned a rating. So typically this would Dataverse will generate a corresponding value. We can change this, but I'll just leave it as it is and save. So next, we'll just go ahead and create the columns for the KPIs. So we'll have punctuality, and for the data type, we'll make it number this time around, and for number, we'll make it decimal, in case some people are not assigned the full numbers, and then we'll just save. So for behavior, we make it simple. It doesn't have to be calculated, and then we'll save. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing, repeat the same process for the rest of the KPIs of the record. Okay, so I've added the columns for the rest of the KPIs. So we have punctuality, productivity, teamwork, communication, initiative, total score, and average. So now that we're done building our table, creating our table, and adding the columns, you can go ahead and use it in your PowerApps application. And otherwise, if you have an existing data like in your Excel or in your SharePoint list, you can import it into your Dataverse table. And so that's what we're going to do. I already have a record of this in an Excel sheet, so I would import that into this table. So once we go back, you can click on import and then select import data from Excel, and this will open up. And so this will open up this pop-up so that you can select a file from your device and upload that file. So I have my Excel sheet. I'll grab that and upload. So once it's done uploading, there's going to be an error here popping up to notify us of the mapping status, and it says mapping errors exist. So some columns are not mapped. So go ahead and edit and map out those columns. So we're going to map out the columns that we have in our Excel sheet to our Dataverse table. So for average, we have this department. To select department, employee name, initiative, select productivity, so that's done. We're done mapping out the columns. We'll save changes, and so here the error now. So here the error is gone, and then our mapping status shows that the mapping was successful. So go ahead and click import. Our import was partially successful. Let's go to the table to see what we have, and let's download this import error. Okay, so guys, this is our table. I also wanted to point something out, that while you try to upload your file, make sure that it is in CSV, otherwise you'll run into errors. So we have our Excel data imported into our Dataverse table, and we're good to go. So in my next video, I'll be using this table, this data in a PowerApps application, and in real time we'll see how that works. So thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.